Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat. I am back with another card. This is one for my Addicted to Stamps and More design team contribution for our challenge, and the challenge is Christmas. But what I really wanted to do was use these diamond press stamps and dies that I bought ages ago, and I have not even inked a single one of them. So I really wanted to do that. You can see here my Memento ink that I am stamping it in is not particularly juicy, so I'm having to restamp it multiple times to get to make sure that the line art is dark enough. I really just need to get a new ink pad, don't I? But yeah, I really loved these stamps. I just watched the show to support my friend Martin, who was demoing, and then I was like, oh, I do not have a Santa, and I certainly do not have a lovely vintage Santa, and this has got several vintage Santas in the set. It was called Vintage Santa, so there's the clue. And I was like, oh, I have to get those. So yeah, it cost me money supporting, watching him. But I'm really chuffed with it. I think it's really, really sweet set. But it's totally not my normal style. I don't normally do vintage, especially not at Christmas. But I just loved it. So I decided to stamp the Santa head, 3 of the holly little bits. What are they called? Little holly bough? Holly triplet? I don't know. And the sentiment. And then I'm going to die cut them out. The sentiment comes on like a little scroll type thing. You'll see when I get round to finishing that off how that works. And I have stamped in the Memento, and now I am inking up with mainly Stampin' Blends, but I do come in with my Pro markers for the skin tone, because obviously Santa's got a lot of white. So he's got his white beard and he's got his white fluff around his hat, etc. So there's quite a lot of white on this. I just use a very pale grey to just sort of add in some shading, and just left it as that. And then, as I say, I did bring in Pro markers in almond and blush just to bring some colour to his face. Possibly could have gone a bit darker with that, I think, but you know. Then I'm going to die cut them all out. Oh, what did I use there? I think it was oatmeal just around his lips, which is a weird colour to have chosen, but it is what I used. So, comes with all of the dies, and I'm just washi taping them into place. And I don't do a great job of the holly leaves, I must admit. I think with hindsight, doing something like this, probably best to do the trick of having die cut the stamps, die cut the shapes first, then position the stamp so you know that the stamping in the right place. That probably would have made more sense, but it is not what I did. And now I'm just umming and ahhing about layout. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I have got this real red cardstock already on my desk as a card blank. So I've already decided that that's what I'm going to do, but I decided I'm going to go for a double layer. So I went and got another sheet of the real red cardstock, and then I changed my mind from landscape to portrait. So I took some cherry cobbler ink, and the reason for this is because I'd actually used cherry cobbler Stampin' Blends, so it was sort of a slightly darker colour red than the real red. And I just inked up some of the cardstock. I then used the, I think it's called Time Worn Type, something along those lines. It's quite an old embossing folder that I've had for a while from Stampin' Up, and I used that to distress the background, and then used the little tool to just distress the edges. And now I'm going in with some champagne shimmer ink, just splattering it all over, just to give it some fun spots of shimmer in the background. So I've decided I'm going to go with the Santa at the top and then the sentiment underneath, and I decide I want to stack him up. I just chose some grey cardstock that was in the scraps box, scraps pouch, just to do that. It doesn't really matter that it's not the same colour. The cardstock that I then cut that out of was some Kingston Crest cardstock actually, so it's got a white core, so it really doesn't matter if you look at the side of it. Now you can see here on the little sentiment that there is like a scroll type design. So I've just, again, using that grey, very light grey, and then a blending pen from my Pro Marker set, just to blend that ink out a bit, and it just gives it a little bit of dimension to that scroll. Again, I did die cut the scroll out again just that one time from the grey. So the Santa is stacked with 2 layers of grey, and then the top layer, and the sentiment is one underneath. But then I realised I'd got this sort of like scrap of red dotty fabric, and I just distressed it at the edges a little bit and decided to put that underneath my Santa. Just gave a little bit of a different texture. I decided my Santa, I wanted to stick him on some foam to make him even more dimensional. And I'm just adding the glue there because of the fact that I knew going onto the fabric it would need that as well as the sticky that was on the foam. But then I wasn't 100% happy. Oh yeah, can you see what I did there? I stuck it onto the card blank and it was upside down. So I now need to make myself another card blank to stick this onto. Such an umpty, but never mind. So I do end up just slightly trimming down the back plate, just so that there's a tiny slither of white on each side of the card. And then I did make sure that I'd got it the right way around this time and glued it down. Now, at this point, I think I lifted up my Santa. I decided I wasn't happy with it. Oh yeah, so I've put my holly leaves in, but I decided I don't like that one on the front, so I just stick it in the middle. And then I lifted up that fabric piece and just lifted it and raised it. I was much happier with the position with it a little bit further up. So there you go, card done and dusted. It was quite quick, probably took me about half an hour in total, and that of course included me having to make the card blank twice. So I hope you enjoyed. Please do give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to see more, and I don't know when the next video will be up, but hopefully it'll be sometime soon. And I hope to see you then. But until then, bye-bye.